www.MVRemix.com.
Okay, so we'll start kind of simple. Tell me about how you got into the industry.
Well, I mean, I guess, living in a city like LA or New York or any cities where there's, the industry is there. You just kind of, I was just singing demos, and I was 13, and I was trying to write songs, and I had a little group, and we saved up a couple $100 and went in and recorded some songs, and those songs were heard by somebody else who then played it for a guy named McKnight. And that was my first kind of break. Brian took me in the studio. I started recording some songs, and once I was working, actually no, there was another set of producers before Brian that I started working with, and then I started working with Brian. And then once people heard that I was a 16-year-old kid writing and singing with Brian, that kind of opened up some other doors for me. And then I just kept writing and started producing for other people, and everything kind of took its course.
So how did you end up meeting up with Andre Powell?
Well, I have a studio up at my house, and Andre had a new label called New America, and he was looking for some songs, looking for some producers out here in Los Angeles, being mostly a New York guy that he was. And a friend of his brought him up to meet me, thought I was one of the talented guys in LA, and Andre came up to my house, and I was actually in the midst of already recording my own album, and he came up and he heard some songs that I was selling that I had left over for some other artists, and he heard me singing them for him, and he was like, "Wait a second, I like the way you sing. Do you have any songs of your own?" And I said, "Yeah, I got my own album stuff. I got a different album that I made for myself, so I played in my album some of the stuff from my album." And he said, "I like that stuff better. You should. What's going on? You got a deal? You want a deal? What's going on?" And we just kind of started going from there.
So I was reading a little bit about New America, and from what I've heard, the premise of it is that there's no longer as much of a demand for the ghetto fabulousness of the mainstream, but they're bringing it back to a different level. Why? What's the basis for these beliefs?
Well, I think Andre has his cultural reasons for why it's important for him, and I think that has a lot to do with where hip hop music has grown and how it's taken over a lot of music culture and changed a lot of the world culture. And I think he believes that after all of that fabulousness and people coming from nothing and making it on their own and bragging about it and being proud of it and all that stuff, I think what he felt is next after that is more of an internal association and more of a personal thing and more about people sharing and connecting and partying together on the same level instead of showing off how they're at a level that you're not at, or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't really know. He has a more specific definition. I think this is who I am, and I'm just kind of a guy who's always got along with all different kinds of people. Growing up in LA, I've got friends of all different races and cultures, and that's why my music reflects my lifestyle and my friends and where and the way I live. And I think that just made sense for what he was looking for also.
Yeah.
We kind of were just meant to meet each other that way.
Now I read about the track in your album about 9/11, which coincidentally is my birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I read about how you reach a sort of epiphany, which many people reach when you have a large tragedy occur, when people die around you, which is that you're going to value them more, you're going to treat things more, you're going to live your life in a better manner, etc. Have you actually managed to fulfill that, or is that just the idea which pops into everyone's head about 2 days after?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course it pops into your head. I mean, for me, I try to live my life that way. I mean, I think that, when I was young, my theory would be, well, how come we can't, the way we act with each other around Christmas, how come we can't be like that all year? You know what I mean? I was always one of the people that just wondered why good times weren't consistent and why people didn't always have smiling faces and nice things to say. And I guess I've always been kind of an idealist that way. And, I'm not blind to the fact that the world is definitely, the glass is definitely half empty. I'm not denying that. And I know what's fucked up, and I know how many things are wrong in the world and in America and in my own city and relationships. But I think it's about trying to wake up each day and do something to to fulfill the better end of those possibilities.
What's the most important thing in your life right now?
Well, right now it's making new music. I had spent a couple years making the album I made, and then pretty much took last year off to party. And I've got a pretty good family base. I've got a good relationship with my mother, father, and brother, and I've got good friends. I've got a really great group of people that I get to make music with that I actually enjoy being with. You know what I mean? We're not arguing to make music. We actually enjoy having good times together. So I think right now what's best for me is to just do what I do, is not worry about how much success it has or where it places on the charts. Or I don't know how to do that anyway. That's not my job. I'm not a businessman. I'm a songwriter. So I think right now what's best and most important for me is just to write more songs and make more music.
Does your inspiration mainly come from the people around you, or is it more so yourself being self-disciplined in order to continue to make music and strive to be perfect?
Well, I definitely don't have enough discipline in that capacity. I kind of, when it feels right, you do it, and when you're making it, whatever feels right, that's what you go with. I'm really mostly a feel guy. I don't all the theories and all that other stuff. Yeah, that's great, but when I close my eyes, if I don't feel anything, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's my take on music most of the time.
Why the change from the original type of the album, Cherry Blue Skies, to the Beautiful One?
Well, it had been obviously a year and a half since I wrote Cherry Blue Skies, which I wrote the week after 9/11. And that was the feeling then. And of course, Cherry Blue Skies for me is a feeling that is not just then, but it's forever for me. It's just the way I feel about things, that in ongoing turmoil and pain and struggle, we should always be reaching to not fight violence with violence, but to actually try to figure out a way to make it better and make it right. Was my Cherry Blue Skies mentality. And A Beautiful World is similar in that it's hey, there's no doubt that there are times when it's definitely not a beautiful world, and more than ever right now things are going on that prove that it's a very difficult time, and a lot of people would say, oh, the world is not beautiful, the world is messed up right now. But to me, you have a chance every day to make a conscious decision of how you see yourself and the people around you and the world you live in. And I just try to remind myself how many beautiful things there are. And I think that's what I wanted the album to stand for, is that, yeah, I know it all seems fucked up, but if we just remember how beautiful it is, maybe we can, we can flourish in that way,
Now, you said about how you don't think people should fight violence with violence. So, of course, it has to be to this question, which is, what is your take on what's been going on in Iraq? Do you believe we've actually won the war? Do you believe it just killed people?
Well, I don't think that it was ever a war. I think that it was America. The guys that are in charge there, believed that this was the time to protect Americans, that it was the time to attack Iraq. But I never really felt like they stood a chance, and obviously it shows that they really didn't. And all we can all hope for now is that the people in Iraq will be better and happier and healthier and all those things because of what America has done. Because that's all what we're hoping now. Nobody really wanted the war to happen, but once it starts, you got to say, well, I can't stop the war. My little ass in LA, I can't make a phone call and stop the war. So all I can hope for now is that the least amount of lives are lost, and that the people in Iraq are actually happier after this happens because it happened. That's all I can hope.
Aside from music, do you have any other aspirations with regards to writing or creating, maybe attaining a different job or goal?
I like writing. Writing is what I'm good at. I would consider writing a book or writing a script, or I don't really like acting very much. It doesn't come natural, and it doesn't feel natural to me. And I don't really know what else there is. There is after that. I don't know if I want to be. I don't think I want to become a puppeteer or anything, like Big John Malkovich. I don't know if there's some other artistic desire that I have that hasn't started yet. I suck at painting. I can't paint. I can't draw. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Could you die today saying you lived?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. I would feel like I, missed out on a couple parties, but I definitely have lived, and more importantly, I've loved, and I've shared love, and I've been loved, and I think that's even more important than living.
Is there a point where you believe that you no longer want to create music, or you have this one idea of having the perfect album, then once you've assembled that, that's it, you'll be content, you'll be proud?
No way. I never, I know that in the head of an artist there is no consistency, so I have no idea, but sometimes it's hard for me to see some of these people that say they're retiring from the business or they're not going to make music anymore. To me, I wonder what their intentions of making music in the first place was, It's like, I don't think Prince could ever stop making some music, whether or not he's not, I just don't know. I think there's some people that are just supposed to make music, and that's what they like doing, and that's what they're good at, and other people just quit the business, which means they don't want to be involved in all the unfortunate things that go along with the business, but that doesn't mean they stop making music,
Aside from your singles, which will be released from the album, is there one track which maybe doesn't have the commercial appeal or to be released that you would want people to hear to summarize the album, to entice them to check it out further?
Well, I don't know if I can answer all of those things with one song, but I would say, like when I do my performance, I feel like when I do Cherry Blue Skies, I feel like that gives people a lot of, as much of who I am and what I stand for and what it's all about to me as I can, And I would like people to definitely, if I had one song, I would, want them to hear Cherry Blue Skies or The Stupid Things, the ballad.
Are there any last questions you'd like to put to fans or potential fans that go into the release?
Any questions? Well, my theory is peace, love, and sexy. That's my thing. If it's about peace, love, or sexy, it's okay with me.
Alright, perfect. Thanks a lot for the interview, man.
Okay, thank you, Hugo.
I will post it up within the next few days and I'll pass it on to the Interscope Records to pass it to you.
Excellent.
Alright.
Okay, my man.